Hey there, I'm Michael Bovee. I'm a debt settlement expert, and I'm here today to talk to you about resolving debt with Comenity Bank. So pay attention for the whole of this video because they are a little different than other creditors, or at least I look at how to settle with them, whether to do it early or late and targets and things like that. That's going to be at the end of the video because of their uniqueness. But let's cover the basics, okay? So Comenity might surprise people how large of a credit card issuing bank they are, but it's predominantly because they issue a lot of store cards, right? You're at the register at some store checking out or a tire place and like, hey, you want to get 10% off of your purchase today because you can get this card, and it might be backed by Comenity, right? It's a jeweler, a clothier. So you have Comenity and you're struggling to make your payments. You've got options. Debt management plans can lower your interest rate. Comenity participates in those. They can also deal directly with you to lower your interest rates. When you have more than one account that you're trying to get interest rate concessions from a bank, I typically suggest at least starting off by talking to a nonprofit credit counseling agency rather than trying to do it yourself because there's too much coordination the more accounts you have. But if you just have this one-off situation and you're late with Comenity by a day or a week and they haven't really hurt your credit yet, call them. They want to talk to you. They might have a hardship plan that works for your cash flow. You can discharge unsecured debt, Comenity's unsecured debt, in a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. I typically look at that as an option of first resort for people that qualify. You do have to qualify. And that's a state-specific thing. It has to do with where you live, how many people in your household, your last 6 months worth of income. I know most of us want to avoid bankruptcy, but listen, if you've got more than 10 or 15K in unsecured debt, talk to a local bankruptcy attorney. You're not going to get cooties from talking bankruptcy cooties, right? From having a free consultation. Most attorneys offer a Chapter 7 consult for free. Just learn more about the option. And then there's settlement. All right, so that's what I excel in, and that's what we're going to talk about for the rest of this video. So Comenity, settling, it's the part that sucks is you have to be late, right? So that's the credit damage. And when you're late enough, most banks will give you a pretty fair shake, right? Optimized savings, but maybe not as much time to pay your settlement as you would either like or need. There are some things that are unique about Comenity. Those unique features I'm going to cover, but then I have to talk about should you even do that, okay? So Comenity, let's just assume for a moment your balance is $5,000 and you've got multiple other accounts to settle. Let's say you've got 5 accounts that equal $5,000 a piece, so 25K worth of debt. Not completely out of the ordinary in today's environment. And you're going to have to fall late on all of them. All right. So Comenity, in just a general sense, I'm going to target as a 50% settlement. I do better settlements with Comenity when you have a lump sum to pay, or you can pay that settlement inside of a narrow window of time, just a couple of months worth of installments on that settlement. So if you have $2,500 and you can spread that out over, let's say 5 months, you are able to do that, or even a year or two. But usually when you need extra time to pay your settlement, you're not getting the biggest discount. Now, why does that matter? Hey, Michael, thanks. I needed that information. Now I know I can go get a settlement out of them. What you have to be aware of is your other 4 accounts, also $5,000 a piece, right? Those are chunky balances worth suing somebody over. So do you commit your money to Comenity because they're unique? They're one of the few banks that will give you a decent settlement with a bunch of runway to pay right out of the gate, early, way earlier than other creditors. Do you do that and commit your cash to them? Or do you wait and target some of the other 4 accounts that you have because they're known to be aggressive where Comenity is typically not, okay? This is what the science of settling. Settling is by far and away not rocket science, right? But when you follow a specific formula, you want to do 2 things. You want to optimize savings and you want to eliminate risk. And risk is defined as having your account go to a collection law firm. Well, Comenity isn't really known for sending you directly to a law firm. Can it happen? Sure. Do I build it into the models for my customers? No. Typically, no, I don't. And I look at them as somebody who's going to place your account into the different collection buckets after you're 6 months late. That's what most credit card banks do. And I look at if they're not going to send you to an attorney, that's one of the 3. then there's two left: contingency collection agencies and debt buyers. And when you need a lot of time to pay a settlement, that's something to embrace, not avoid. In other words, let's say one of your creditors is one of the more aggressive banks out there, American Express, right? So we have to allocate funds for that one and this one. And then the other three, okay, we get a little bit more time. And or we don't have to be as early in our cash flow assignment. It's like, okay, well, I've got this much money now, I've got this much money over time. This is what makes the most sense to do with my money with each creditor, given their trajectory that is largely something that we can, map out. So committing money to a Comenity settlement sooner than should have been done prevents a lot of people from these two prongs, right? You gave money to somebody you shouldn't have given money to that early or for that little amount of time. You should have elongated your settlement payments because now you're in trouble with the two that are the most aggressive on your list, but you didn't know any better, right? So that's the science. That's, to me, the secret sauce of negotiating, because settlement's simple. You go late enough, something starts to look better than nothing. That's how basic debt settlement is. But then applying that principle to do those two prongs, that's where you could use some help. And I'm available. People can schedule a call with me. It's free. The number on the screen, I'm at extension 2. If you pull up the video description below, there's a link to schedule a consultation with me. It just walks you through some basic details you'll provide, and then it'll bring up my calendar, and you can pick the day and time that you want to speak with me, right? To hit that calendar link. And I'll call you, and we'll talk about some of these parameters in order to make sense of settlement, whether it's for you at all, whether one of these other intervention steps might be a better option for you, including hardship plans, but accumulate the knowledge, the information about the math of how all of your creditors behave, and then leave that call with more information than you'll probably get anywhere else about settling, and sleep on it and figure out, okay, this is going to work for me, and it's going to work with me in this prescribed period of time because I have these known financial, ask this money now, money predictable over time consistently. And then you go for it. Or you go, it looks like these other things are actually more applicable to me, myself, my goals, my cash flow, right? Let's talk a little bit about what I see people ask a lot of questions about as far as particular creditors and their credit reporting. And so first off, credit reporting from Comenity, it's a bank, they're a member of CDIA, which means they're not going to do pay for delete, or it would be very uncommon for them to agree to, hey, let's settle with you and then we'll just take this off your credit. Debt collectors might do that, debt buyers might do that, but banks typically do not. But it's okay, because when you settle a debt with Comenity, whether it's with them or the collection agency that they sent the account to, they will have to update it to show you don't owe them anymore. It's a zero balance. Credit can bounce back once you have unresolved accounts showing as resolved. You can go out and get a mortgage, a car loan, additional unsecured credit once you take care of all that. So don't get hung up on the fact that they don't delete. Most of your banks don't delete, okay? Like almost all of them. If they do sell it to a debt buyer, they're going to show as a zero balance on your credit report, and then the debt buyer is going to report. They do, many of them, and especially the major ones that Comenity typically sells to. They sell to some of the largest. Most of the larger debt buyers now have a deletion policy. And so while you won't get Comenity's off, it'll show a zero balance charge off, and then the debt buyer will show up as an amount owed to them. Some of the debt buyers that they sell to, if we catch them early enough, we can actually prevent that credit reporting at all. But even if we can't prevent it, these guys, these debt buyers also do deletions, a lot of them. So that might come off, but you got to know that the Comenity one probably still stays on there. But again, it's a zero balance, so it's okay. You're going to be able to bounce back from that. We talked about the risk of suit. Final issue or element is what I have to start talking about now in more of my videos. And it's a series that I did about debt validation. When to use it, when not to use it. The internet is ablaze with you should always use debt validation, and that's completely crappy advice. Depending on your situation, it actually can cause more problems for you than it solves. But I'll link to a series of links in the video description below about how to do debt settlement without getting sued, just intelligence that you want. and how to avoid the debt elimination and the debt validation scams that are all over the internet, especially the part 2, video number 2 in that 3-part series. And as you know from any of my videos, the comments are open. You can ask questions there. And like I said, I'm available to speak with. Just pop on my calendar using the consultation link or give me a call, extension 2. See you on the next video.